Welcome to Rolling Reflections. I am Eric and I have rolled, I have reflected, and I want to share that with you. So today, the topic is framed around different class types. Last night I went to all levels, which is all levels. It's anyone who is just starting to black belts, anyone can do it. And it is a different teaching method. I think the things you learn are still fundamental from what I've seen, but sometimes that fundamental is enhanced and the complexity is increased. So today I went back to fundamentals because that's 2 fundamental classes a week. And then they have all levels. They have intermediate and advanced. They have no-gi. They have all these different classes. And I think there's incredible value. My reflection is that going to multiple different classes is important. And I think the reason I used to think it was important to go to other classes and experience that was because you were going to increase your capacity to play the game, to be a better practitioner by going. And maybe it was a simplistic view of why that could happen, why that will happen. Because I do believe, like yesterday I was talking about how you can dominate fundamentals and go a long way, I think, because they're the building blocks of the game. But then when you watch high-level competitors, you see them do all kinds of crazy stuff, and it isn't just a simplistic game. It can be very complex. So all levels, that made me aware of things. It showed me a new skill set. It showed me some new things I could do in this binary tree that is jiu-jitsu. If this, then this. If this is not that way, then I'll do this. Everything is a left or right. It's a decision tree. And so I was given some more tools that I have to ingest, I have to drill, I have to, work on to allow them to become thoughtless in a way and smooth. So I learned that stuff. I struggled. The awareness piece was wonderful. So I can see something and I can view it. And today I go to fundamentals after all levels, which was not overwhelming, but it was an escalation. There was an intensity increase. And at the end of class, we did, I did 3 rounds, 3 5-minute rounds, and people stayed after, but that was my push. And at the pace that I went at them, I think that is the other part is, conditioning is one piece and how you're attacking that role. I'm learning that too, is sometimes I don't know how to control that pace. That's a bonus reflection, if you will. Sometimes this process is learning, how do you control the pace? How do you dial back when the other person's going real hard? And I think if you know what you're doing, you can, do things to that person to make them tired out or pay for it. So you calm them down. I don't have that skill. So I'm pretty much matching the energy of whatever's being given to me. Sometimes that intensity is just full on the whole time. And I'm not trying to get caught after attack, after attack, after attack. And if I knew what I was doing, I could stop them. I don't know what I'm doing in those situations. So I end up following. And I suppose I could say, okay, slow down. But I don't want to at the same time. I'm enjoying the process of going to those places physically to stretch myself. But if it costs me pain, if it costs me tendonitis and injury and things like that, then I'll stop that. But right now it just means I could do 3 rolls instead of 4 or 5. So I went with somebody else who is maybe I'm better than, and it was a lot easier for me to meet their energy because they were trying hard to do things, but I was in control. So I wasn't trying as hard. So I was meeting their resistance, and that was a great experience. And that's what my reflection is ultimately, is going from all levels to fundamentals, go to fundamentals next week, do 2 of those, and then every once in a while checking in with all levels. It's beneficial to go consistently to the classes because there's, a chunk of learning, a sequence that you're learning, but there's benefit in dropping in as a new practitioner just to see what else is out there, and then go back to fundamentals where you're allowed to breathe a bit, or at least for me. And I think everyone's going to be different. This is just my reflection. The benefit of going outside of your comfort zone and trying something new within that framework is valuable because at least at least you can see and experience something and it keeps it fresh. But maybe you get dominated. Maybe it doesn't go well. Maybe it's super confusing. And I had that once a while ago, and that reminded me because, not just a seminar that I went to that I just couldn't comprehend it yet because I don't have that base level of knowledge. So I'm trying to learn a language that I don't understand, and it's really good stuff, but I can't make my body do that yet. And really, jiu-jitsu for me has been mind-body connection and understanding how to move my body. And that's a really intense vocabulary sometimes. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's really complex. So you have that. And then earlier I went to another class that was, all levels type of situation. And it was my flexibility, maybe it's not even flexibility, but that's what I perceived it as, to do the step over and these different things we were doing to make the move smooth. Couldn't do it. And then I felt bad, not like, oh, what was me, but I felt bad. I left the gym just disappointed in myself. Or even in fundamentals, I had it too, though. So no matter where you go, you experience it. And in fundamentals, I had this X-Guard class and couldn't make it work. I think I understand it better now, but I was like, going home just super discouraged because it was the first real wall that I hit where I felt like a child. And jiu-jitsu is full of those moments. It was just the first real one that I had. And so that happened in fundamentals. So when I then go to all levels or intermediate, whatever, and then I have a similar experience and it's the first time I went to that class, I can't then tell myself that never go back to this class. You're not ready for it. It's just, it happened to be that day with that specific movement sequence that I can't do yet. That just was a perfect storm, because it happens in every class. And going back to fundamentals today, loved it. Great class. It's repetition of the stuff that I learned last week and the week before. Because the more I go out and the more I drill or more I spar and roll, I'm becoming so much more aware of how much more I need repetition. I need to see the look over and over and over again. I need to drill stand-up stuff. I need to spar stand-up. I need to spar from positions and then dedicate myself to a movement sequence. And every time it presents itself, gain awareness and then go for that sequence. Win or lose or fail. It doesn't matter. I just have to go for it because I see it. And the more I can see it, the more that is going to happen. It's almost like this process of creating this neural pathway, this neural network that says, if this, then this. Like you're making your body into this computer and you can't just do it and you can't exactly make sense of it because things just start to make sense the more you start to do them right. And the more you do them right to get to that point where you're doing them right, you first have to start to see them. And that sight of saying, I'm in this position, whoa, I know jiu-jitsu, like that kind of moment is very subtle. And it's just seeing an arm here, a knee here, pressuring and pinning here, and then realizing there's a path to go this way. And then every time you see it, you're making a memory. I'm realizing, and I might not know what to do, but I'm seeing it. And that vision matched with skill acquisition is going to create growth. And I think that's everywhere we go. And going to one class is wonderful. I think you can learn a lot. I can learn a lot in fundamentals, but it's cool to go into a different class every once in a while and take a little bit of what they're doing. And then classes are different too. So if I go to fundamentals, I kind of know what to expect, but all levels I didn't. And, like I said, you have that rolling at the end, that extra half hour on the end of that class was super cool. That's not something I experienced. I did it at Gold Star and I really enjoyed it because I get to go and get a couple rolls in if I wanted to. And that's how you start building that endurance. So had I not gone to that class in all levels, I wouldn't have been able to do that 3 rounds. And I grew from that. And some of the greatest growth happens after discouragement. And I think the difference between a reflective person who has vision and drive is their ability to meet that resistance, meet that frustration, meet that failure, and not tell themselves a story that they have to just man up and just fight and muscle their way through it. Because a lot of times in life we do that. We just muscle our way through things. We grit our teeth, we bear down and we hide it. But you can't muscle your way through jiu-jitsu. And I think a lot of people like myself start that way because when you don't know what to do, you use what you have, and that's muscle. It doesn't matter if you're really strong or not really strong, you're going to try and muscle your way because you're frantic, you have no plan, you're just trying to resort to whatever you have in your toolkit. And you might even find a teeny tiny bit of success. You might even sweep someone. You might even pin someone. Hell, you might even submit someone if you know rear naked choke and you get their back. I mean, it could happen in a entry level class. But what won't happen is skill acquisition, because until you get with people and you calm down and they beat you and you make good moves and you learn and you really slow down, you're not going to be able to do the stuff that you need to do to progress. You're not going to learn the skills or have the skills and know how to apply the skills without that slowing down. And I remember in my personal life, the same thing is happening too, where I can have all the knowledge I want, but if I'm not taking the time to embody it, it doesn't matter. If I know yoga is good for me and I don't do it, my back still hurts. If I know that when I feel like I'm not being heard or understood, if I'm being misunderstood, that I get triggered beyond all measure, and I don't recognize that and tell myself that before I go crazy and spiral into anger, well, it doesn't matter. I can know all the information I need to know in the world, but if I'm not applying it, if I'm not finding ways to slow down and buy my own stuff, to take my own medicine, I'm never going to progress. I'm never going to reach what I want to reach. And I'm never going to understand if I'm reaching for the wrong thing. So all levels, fundamentals, these are two wonderful classes. I need both of them. And I need them both for different reasons. I need fundamentals and all levels to learn skills, to get better at jiu-jitsu. But the reflection I had is I need all levels to push myself beyond where I feel like I can go and to meet new people as well. And I need fundamentals to breathe, to remind myself that I'm okay, to remind myself that I'm on the path, I'm doing the right things, and I'm going to get there. But all levels is a wonderful place to go watch people who are really good and see a vision of where you want to go. Then you go back to fundamentals. I go back to fundamentals and I roll with my peers. And I remember that I am making progress, because if we're just beat down every day and we have no sign of going anywhere forward, it's really hard. That's going to burn out, and we can only go so long before we need to speak up and find something new, figure something else out. But I'm striking a nice balance, and I think that's what we all need to do in life, is strike that balance. And I always talk about in my modern myth, my life philosophy is, how are you using your mind and body to write this life story? And the things that we do with our mind and body writes that life story, and the things we put into our mind and body write that life story as well. And so these reflections are one of the ways that I write the best life story I can possibly write. And I go to different classes because that is part of me writing the best life story possible, because my brain is triggered in different ways in every class that I go to and every experience that I have. And I need that stimulation so I can reflect deeper and understand what's going on with me, so I can know the path I need to chart going forward. So I hope you're crafting the best life story possible too. And if these chats can help you maybe think of your own story in a different way, I'm going to be the happiest guy in the world, because I feel like each one of us has a story that we can share. And when we have people sharing their stories, it allows people to passively listen in and say, maybe I'll try that. That resonates with me, and I'm going to bring that into my life. And then all of a sudden their trajectory of life changes too. And it's not about the ego of the person sharing. It's just about vulnerably sharing from an authentic place and an empowered place, not a poor me, victim-y, ushy, mooey gooey kind of situation. It's one of confidence. It's one of purpose. It's one of passion, and one of direction. So hopefully you guys are finding that for yourself. And I really appreciate the time that, I get to spend reflecting, and the accountability that sharing these messages provides me. And I just hope that the messages land with you guys out there too. So until next time, journey well, my friends.